Welcome! In this lesson, we will start creating our first custom module. Let's begin. As an overview, here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to learn about the contents of the info.yml file, which is responsible for defining the custom module. Then, to begin developing our module, inside our site's modules folder, we'll create a custom module directory along with a directory for our module. Then, we'll create the .info.yml file, populate it with the required key value pairs metadata, and then we'll go ahead and install, which is to say enable our module on the local site. A info.yml file, also known as info.yml file, is an essential part of a Drupal module or theme, and it's used to store metadata about the project. These info.yml files are required for a few reasons. Two important reasons are, 1, they notify Drupal about the existence of the project, and 2, they distinguish the project as a module or a theme. So now, before we begin coding, realize that every info.yml file must contain certain keys in order for Drupal to be able to actually install the accompanying module. At a minimum, you must provide the keys of name, type, description, and core version requirement. The name key details a name for your module. This is what is displayed on the extend page of your Drupal site. The key of type distinguishes the project type as a module or theme. The key of description describes what the module is and does. This description is helpful for site administrators who are responsible for enabling the module. And lastly, the key of core_version_requirement indicates the versions of Drupal core that are supported by the code of your module. Now, should you be developing code for an old version of Drupal 8, keep in mind that Drupal versions 8.7.7 and earlier should use the key of core. But for a module for any modern version of Drupal, 8.8.0 and later, use the core version requirement key. If needed, a link is provided to help you understand which core requirement keys are to be used in different situations. In addition to the keys of name, type, description, and core version requirement, there are other keys which you can add to your module as required. We won't go into detail of each of these here, but you should know about them. These keys are the Dependencies Keys, which is a list of other modules your module depends on. The Configure key can be used if your module offers a configuration form. A PHP key can be used to specify a minimum version of PHP required to enable the module. The hidden key, set to true, can be used to hide your module from the modules list on the extend page. And finally, the required key, set to true, means your module must be enabled and cannot be uninstalled. Full details of these keys can be found at the link provided. Okay, you're doing great. This wraps up covering the various key metadata of your module's info.yml file. Again, the most important keys are name, type, description, and core version requirement. Excellent. Let's head on over to our code editor. Make sure your project is loaded in full. In the File Explorer, go to your high-level modules directory. Mine is located under the web directory at Web Modules. Notice that within the modules directory, there is a readme.txt file that comes with the Drupal code base. It's a good habit to always read any readme files that come with software. Go ahead and open up this readme.txt and scan it over. Notice the section titled Organizing Modules in this directory. As it says, you may create subdirectories in this directory to organize your added modules without breaking the site. Some common subdirectories include contrib for contributed modules and custom for custom modules. If we keep reading, we discover some advice that may help us later on. It says, note that if you move a module to a subdirectory after it has been enabled, you may need to clear the Drupal cache so it can be found. Fantastic advice and noted. Okay, let's go back to building our first module. Inside your modules folder, go ahead and create a new folder called Custom. If you happen to be working with an existing codebase and the custom directory is already there, super, no need to create it again. Remember, creating a directory called custom is considered best practice as it separates out the custom modules from the contributed modules you might install on your site later. Inside the custom directory, go ahead and create a new directory called MyModule, MyModule. This is now the machine name of your module. If you plan on eventually contributing your module back to the Drupal community at some point, you'll want to go to drupal.org/project/mymodule, or whatever you want to call your module, and double check that there's no contributed project with that name already. Other names to avoid are the names of modules which are included in Drupal core, such as aggregator, book, block, date, node, user, etc. So, inside the MyModule folder, go ahead and create a new file called mymodule.info.yml and open mymodule.info.yml. Your YAML file requires just a few lines of metadata, and we're going to add them now. On the first line, type name with a colon and a space. Single quote, my first custom Drupal module, end single quote. Now, on the left-hand side here, we have a key, and on the right-hand side, the value. This is a key-value pair. The key is what Drupal needs in order to do its thing, and the value can be any human-readable value. So, in this case, the name My First Custom Drupal Module is how it will be listed on the Extend Administration page when we go to enable that module. The next key that's required is type. So write type, T-Y-P-E, colon, space, module. The reason this key is required is that Drupal uses the same .info.yml format for themes as well. So you need to specify that this file is declaring a module and not a theme. The next key to enter really depends on the version of Drupal core that you are using. Since this course requires a Drupal core of at least 9.0.0, we will be using the key of core_version_requirement. So type that out. Core version requirement, colon, space, *9. The *9 is a semantic version syntax in a format understood by Composer. A link will be provided at the end of this video to help you further understand semantic versioning in Drupal. To repeat, the core version requirement key is important to get correct as it determines which versions of Drupal this module is compatible with. This key was introduced in Drupal version 8.8.0 and realize that versions of Drupal before that require a different key. So these three key value pairs, name, type, core version requirement, are all that you technically need to define a module. However, let's add a couple other optional lines. Let's add the description line. This will help site administrators know more about what this module is and does by displaying this description text in the administrative extend area of our site. Go ahead and type description, colon, space, single quote, code to spark my module development understanding, end single quote. Another optional key you may find useful is the package key. This key organizes and groups modules of the same package on the Extend Administration page on the Drupal site. So go ahead and type package, colon, space, single quote, Acquia module dev course, end single quote. Remember to save this file, and congratulations! You have successfully completed the mymodule.info.yml file. Continuing on, because our module uses Drupal hook functions, the next step is to create the .module file. So inside the module's custom MyModule directory, create a new file called mymodule.module. We don't need to put code in there yet. We just need to create the file. Stellar! Head on over to your site. Click on Extend and scroll down under Acquia Module Dev Course, and you should see My First Custom Module. Go ahead and put a check mark in there. Scroll down and click Install. Congratulations! You've just created and installed a custom Drupal module. Super work on completing the foundations for our own custom module. In this session, you learned about the purpose of info.yml files and which key value pairs are required in your module's info.yml file. The required keys are name, type, and core version requirement. We also entered the keys of description and package. Further, we became aware that depending on the Drupal core version we are developing for, there may be a different core version key if Drupal core is version 8.7.7 or earlier. Be sure to check out the provided resources to further your understanding. Good job, and I'll see you again soon. Happy learning.